You'll be surprised to know that 70% or more of the strokes are preventable. If you control and detect hypertension and properly treat it throughout your life, 40% of strokes as well as heart attacks can be totally prevented.
One question I do have about stroke and heart attack lately, if you see a lot of young people are getting affected.
Because of the wrong lifestyle and diet, they have hypertension, diabetes, lipids, junk food.
Yeah.
They don't do yoga, meditation, or any kind of exercise, and they don't sleep till late night working on internet. Dementia. Whatever you have learned mentally, intellectually, emotionally, it is all D. You are losing all learned capacities.
So once somebody is diagnosed with dementia, what change in lifestyle and diet would you recommend for them?
Is good sleep. One needs to do exercise, diet, rest, and relaxation, meditation, music, hobbies, social connection. All these are very fine for brain connectivity. Our brain has 100 billion neurons roughly, and there are 100 trillion synapses. My God, more than any supercomputer. You'll be surprised to know that one can remember 90 million books, each containing 1,000 pages. You know the Sanskrit effect and the hymn, the way the Sanskrit rituals are, they are spoken. Any new language learning is good, but Sanskrit in particular.
Why is that?
Dr. James has studied the whole Sanskrit effect, and even the German scientists have done a lot of work. So they have found that particularly Sanskrit, it has a tremendous effect on brains. We should long for that happiness which is permanent or long-lasting, which is not dependent on the outer world, and it is at the same time giving you feeling of peace and solace. That is the real happiness. Prahlad Jani Mataji, the most famous candidate from my research, came to me. He was saying that he has not eaten or taken any drop of liquid for years together, and that he did not pass urine and stool. Alive till age of 93, very agile. His brain was showing no sign of degeneration. Heart was completely normal. Arteries were open. The gut, every system was normal. Powerful man with full confidence. If you look into his eyes, and at the top of it, he never fell ill. Yoga, meditation, fasting, and spiritual practices have a lot to offer to human body and brain. And if we really exploit this wonderful technique given by ancient Indian sages and rishis, I think we can bring welfare to the humanity.
Hello, everybody. To all of you who are watching us today on this podcast episode, I am delighted to have Dr. Sudhir Shah with me. He is distinguished neurologist. A neurologist, for those of you who may not have an idea, a neurologist is a doctor who specializes in brain diseases and brain disorders. Dr. Shah is of international repute. He has been a recipient of Padmashri back in 2016 and Bharat Gaurav Award at Senate of France on 5th of June of this year, which is one of the highest international awards for Indians. He has also been honored with FRCP London in 2022 and FOND USA in June 2022. Also, BC Roy Award in 2018 and recipient of UNO Award and Global Visionary Award. He has been interviewed by BBC, Discovery, CNBC, and other national and international TV channels for his famous research on prolonged fasting as well as on meditation. I was captivated a lot when off record I was speaking to him about meditation and about spirituality, of his ability to seamlessly connect medical aspects to spirituality. So we have all of this in this episode today. So without any further ado, I'll welcome Dr. Sudhir Shah with us on this podcast. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
How are you doing?
I'm very fine.
Great to have you on here.
Thank you.
So let's dive right in. There's a lot that we need to talk about.
Sure.
So first of all, before we start, just so that the viewers get a little bit idea, they get to know who you are. Why did you choose neurology of all the fields in the medicine?
Well, that was part of my destiny, and it was a kind of intuitive decision. At the age of 15 years, I was just very small, and suddenly one day I had an intuitive dream that I should become a neurologist. I should do research on brain, temporal lobe, try to connect occult sciences, specifically spirituality, and put it on scientific grounds. And I would also like write books on neurology, extensively talk across the globe, and do a lot of work, and try to bring Indian spirituality on the global platform through neuroscience. That was the idea. My father was also a doctor, and he also used to practice a bit of neurology, though in those days, way back in 1974 in India, neurology was just a budding science, and not many people had chosen that career. It was a very new branch.
Right. And especially in neurology, you have done extensive research on stroke prevention, treatment, everything, Alzheimer's, dementia. So, why does those topics interest you?
Well, for any neurologist, stroke, dementia, epilepsy, headache, these are all commonest topics.
Common topics,
and, but stroke being one of the most preventable topic, I thought we can help this community by giving a lot of emphasis on preventive aspects to the society. You'll be surprised to know that 70% or more of the strokes are preventable. As for example, if you control and detect hypertension and properly treat it throughout your life, 40% of strokes as well as heart attacks can be totally prevented.
Wow.
40%. Similarly, dyslipidemia, that is high cholesterol, high LDL, then smoking, tobacco, excessive alcohol, the sedentary lifestyle, lack of exercise, stress, atrial fibrillation, some cardiac conditions, all these are easily detectable and preventable. If we ask people to do exercise, to reduce weight, to remain stress free, learn meditation or relaxation techniques, and how to do, how to get engaged into social activities. I think stress can be reduced. The other risk factors which I mentioned, largely 70% of the strokes can be prevented. And same is true for heart attack. Almost same risk factors operate for heart attack. So
exercise, diet, and what else?
Stress reduction.
Stress reduction, okay.
Control of hypertension, diabetes, lipids, and checking of cardiac condition, because many of the strokes originate from the heart. This is called embolic stroke.
Right.
And obesity, of course. And nowadays there are two new factors. One is pollution, specifically air pollution. And after COVID, we have realized that infections have also some role to play in occurrence of stroke. So
how does pollution play a role with stroke and heart disease?
Pollution is responsible for producing certain poisonous gases.
Toxins.
Yeah, toxins, particularly nitric oxide, then sulfur oxide, and then there are some other pollutants in the air, from where the pollution is generated. So those particles go into the lungs and system. So there are lots of effects, not only air pollution, even the noise pollution, water pollution, adulteration of the food. So these are the subjects of current discussion in many World Stroke conferences also.
Wow. So let's take one step at a time. So when we talk about environmental pollution, what can people do as a preventive measures when they are outside? Wear a mask,
Wear a mask, and
like on buses, motorbikes.
and of course try to remain away from those areas where there's a lot of gases and burning of what is happening
Yeah,
in Java
yeah,
area.
yeah,
So
yeah.
and to remain indoor rather than going out.
Going out, yeah.
Particularly when AQI is beyond 250, you should be very careful. Nowadays, we are seeing AQI about 500 in Delhi and Chandigarh. And I
It's a
came from
lot.
Chandigarh yesterday only, and I was surprised to see how people live there. So these are the real burning problems, and it is now proved in peer-reviewed journals. There are articles mentioning pollution is one of the standard risk factors for stroke and even heart attack.
Wow. One question I do have about stroke and heart attack. Lately, if you see a lot of young people are getting affected, why do you think that's the case? And I'm talking about people in like 40s.
Well, as we mentioned, certain risk factors, the diet, lifestyle, these are all changing, and urbanization. People are coming from the rural areas. They are put into a lot of stress of work and finding their household and making their lives, and then they fall prey to tobacco, alcohol, and now drugs. Drugs are rampant. All these factors, and youths have lost direction, and it is one of the biggest concerns that we doctors have. Particularly, I am working on all these areas also. And then road accidents and other things, they also produce some impact on brain. So later on, they produce, as for example, dissection of the arteries. And because of the wrong lifestyle and diet, they have hypertension, diabetes, lipids, and the type of diet they order online, junk food. So I'm not surprised that they are all into all different reasons why they have. And at the top of it, they don't do exercise.
Yeah.
They don't do yoga, meditation, or any kind of exercise. And they sleep, they don't sleep till late night working on internet and kind of social media.
So I think getting a good 7 to 8 hours of sleep is also very important.
They spend roughly 4, 5, 6 hours on social media rather than going and meeting friends. So this is another reason which I realize sitting and eating junk food and looking at Facebook, Insta, and all this is not something very.
This is a plague right now.
I know.
Worldwide. So I do want to talk a little bit about dementia also,
Yeah.
Alzheimer's. Forgetfulness as people get older is a normal, I guess we say part of aging. Some kind of forgetfulness. I mean, I sometimes forget things too. But at what point should families be concerned?
Dementia. Whatever you have learned mentally, intellectually, emotionally, it is all D. It is
That's very
dissociated.
interesting. Yeah.
So you are losing all learned capacities. Specifically, it talks about intelligence, memory, also communication, that is language, your dressing and other practice skills like driving, other whatever instruments you have learned, that also comes into practice. Then visual spatial skills like if I have to go to bathroom, if I lose my way, or when I go on outside and I forget my way back to home. So that is also a part of intellectual schema. And then behavior. So just forgetting names is common because we are overloading our brain with a lot of information.
Yeah.
But if I forget my commitment, my work, my orientation to time, place, and person goes away because I don't remember what is the date today. I have communication problems. What you speak, I don't understand, and I keep on repeating the same thing again.
That is the
again.
concern.
And then my behavior changes. I become irritable, aggressive, and then when the bowel bladder sense is lost. That is
What do you
another
mean
thing.
when you say
So
bowel?
control of urine and stool So social, it is unacceptable. So they pass urine somewhere. So when the thing advances, so initially it starts with episodic memory loss, so to say, in Alzheimer dementia. So whole episode, like yesterday, they had gone to some place and he said, well, I didn't go anywhere. So that
so
is called
you
episodic memory. That is the classic thing.
forget the okay.
Yeah, for Alzheimer. And then all these things, and then peculiarly, the recent memory and the new learning is gone first, but they remember older things well. When the disease starts, what did you say before few minutes, they will not remember. What they ate for the breakfast, they won't remember. Some of the semantic funds are like, who is the president of Falana, they may not. And who visited us last week, they will not. But they would remember where they studied and who were their old friends and what was the old address. So old memories are well preserved, but as the disease progresses, things progress in a reverse manner, and gradually last year, second last year, third year, as thus the previous year's memories get eroded. So this is classic of Alzheimer's disease. But new learning, they cannot take anything, new information in the brain, and they have to repeatedly ask, what is the day today? What did we eat? Something like that. So that is Alzheimer's disease. But as I said, as the disease advances, everything goes, and then person becomes self-independent. The independence goes away. So patient is dependent, ultimately bedridden, and emotionally cut off from people. He won't remember his relatives, friends, everything. So this is what very sad state of affairs.
So I want to talk about two things. First is what can we do to prevent, I guess that's how do you keep your brain healthy. But I also want to talk about part two of dementia, which is once a person is diagnosed with it, and since we are talking about it, we'll just continue. So once somebody is diagnosed with dementia, what change in lifestyle and diet would you recommend for them?
First of all, is good sleep, 7 hours, 8 hours sleep. Uninterrupted night sleep is important. Those who have frequent awakening during sleep, they require some kind of help, and maybe they would benefit from polysonogram or sleep study. So sleep is important. Similarly, one needs to do exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So exercise can be of any form, physical exercise to cycling to yoga to aerobics, and sometimes little anaerobic weightlifting exercise also, cardio, respiratory, so different forms of exercise. But I think yoga is very important for relaxation, stretching, and durability, while cardiovascular are for muscle and heart. So mix and match type of exercise. Diet. Mediterranean diet is considered one of the best diets, as everybody knows now, where there are a lot of leaves, vegetables, fruits, legumes, then dry fruits, particularly walnut and pistas, and okay. Then berries are wonderful for brain. The avocado is also very good. Soya is good for brain. Broccoli is good for brain. And there are certain herbal things that can also help, right? So this is providing general in diet, but rest and relaxation in between work is
Again,
also
stress
provided.
and rest
Yeah.
is
Stress
everywhere.
is altogether a different topic. But rest and relaxation, what I mean that if you work continuously for 8 hours, as many executives do, that is not conducive to brain. Brain doesn't like that. So every 45 minutes or 1 hour, you take 5 minutes break, take deep breath, walk around, do little meditation. So that is one thing. And stress relaxation techniques we have to learn, including progressive muscular relaxation, yoga, particularly meditation, music, hobbies. So I think most workplaces should have some environment where person can go, relax for 5 minutes, come back, can dance, can do music, and that's very important for brain. Similarly, social connection. As I may reiterate that instead of making virtual friends on Insta and Facebook, go and meet friends.
I was going to ask you that, meeting people and social connection plays a big
and
role.
talk to them on phone, right? Rather than doing this, you go and so this is what is required. Then what comes important is hobbies. All hobbies, music, dance, art, reading. All these are very fine for brain connectivity. And don't remain lonely. You should be, connected to, while you're at work also, make time to laugh and cut jokes. And, this is also very important. Learn new things. Challenges are something which brain likes. So, Sudoku, uh, these puzzles and crosswords, etc. So, brain likes that. You know the capacity of brain? Our brain has 100 billion neurons, roughly 100 billion neurons, and there are 100 trillion synapses. My God, more than any supercomputer. You'll be surprised to know that one can remember 90 million books, each containing 1,000 pages, or 300 million TV hours we can store in the brain. Massive capacity in terms of gigabytes and bytes and bytes. And still, how much brain we use?
Very little.
Very little. So if we do all these things and hobbies and connectivity and social things and exercise and diet, and I think we must help ourselves. That is my point.
So, doing more things and keeping oneself occupied, it increases your brain capacity?
Yes. Use or lose. That is the mantra that we give.
Use it or lose it, yeah.
More so that synapses open up, the pathways open up. The dormant brain, it is roughly the tune of 70% of the area of the brain. We don't know how and where they function. And if you open up them with meditation or some other creativity, and brain likes challenges also. So take challenges. Don't remain in the comfort zone. And secondly, you can always shift the pattern. Sometimes you break the pattern. So, monotony is something which brain doesn't like. And learn new languages. You know the Sanskrit effect and the way the Sanskrit rituals are, they are spoken. Any new language learning is good, but Sanskrit in particular.
Why is that?
That's called
The way the
Sanskrit
pronunciation?
effect. Yeah, because the attention areas, prefrontal, cuneus, temporal, limbic systems, they have studied this. Dr. James has studied the whole Sanskrit effect, and even the German scientists have done a lot of work. So they have found that particularly Sanskrit, the way you pronounce and the way the tongue touches the palate and the way you speak loudly,
Wow.
it has a tremendous effect on brain. So, out of all languages, Sanskrit has an additional benefit. So, learning language and writing with left hand. When you're right-hander, but if I start writing with left hand, it helps brain. Not only that, mirror writing. I also learned mirror writing. So if I write in a way, when I put the mirror, I can read the correct part. So you have to write in the way that only you can see the right part in the mirror. So that is how it's called mirror writing. So there are lots of ways, but out of all, reduction of stress, enjoying life, enjoying every moment, meditation, yoga, music, like pattern, a regular pattern, and sometimes break the pattern. And diet and exercise, these are the most important tips apart from social interaction. Love people. Don't remain in a way, altruism also has brain. So Don't criticize, don't compare, don't be selfish. So brain loves all these things. I have studied all these things in a beautiful way, so I can tell with confidence that this is going to help my viewers and everyone.
No, definitely. And I think this brings us to spirituality, but I still want to talk to you more before we get into the spirituality
Yeah, I
part.
said the second part I have to.
Yeah, but I still have a question in this first part. So, does loneliness actually shrink the brain?
Oh yes, why not? Loneliness has three, four effects. One is it produces inflammation in a very peculiar way. So the part, particularly prefrontal lobe, which is a part of our cognition, the amygdala, the part that is connected to emotion and fear, and hippocampus, the part of memory. These three get inflammation. And during loneliness, you have no connections. So your anxiety, depression, and behavioral
So, you get
patterns.
those things
So
too.
these
Yeah.
are also other things. And most importantly, the connections of the brain, which are conducive to social interactions and emotions and executive function and intellectual functions, they get degenerated because they are not used. So again, the prefrontal and hippocampus, limbic system, they are degenerated. So I would suggest that people, rather than remaining lonely or working on only social media, they should go out to
Yes,
garden
go
and
out
go and
and
meet
have fun.
people.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is what it is.
So, for somebody who has already been diagnosed with dementia, what can they do to just better their quality of life?
First of all, there should be a caregiver at home, or if there is none, they should hire a paid person, a person who can really look after not only money, but he should be concerned. He or she should be concerned with the person. So, loving, tender care is one of the most important things. Second, in the early stages, providing diaries so that they can write down their appointment, their commitment, and when they go to market. So nowadays, the smartphones are very well equipped with all.
So you mean
these
the
things.
person who's diagnosed
Yeah.
with, they will write a diary. Okay.
So, because initial part, so they have minor problems. Sometimes they forget their whole
Yeah.
episode or their
Yeah.
commitments or this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
initially,
So keep a
to
diary.
keep them
Okay.
confident, to maintain their confidence, they should have diary, some reminders and some systems, people to assist. And then when the disease advances, first of all, they should be treated as normal people. Only thing in their pocket, one should have the card mentioning their phone number and address. Nowadays in foreign they have tracking devices
Yeah.
also. In India we can also have that. Then making the environment of the home very simple and keeping things at their hand. So routine items of their use should be with them. That is one important thing. The way to bathroom can be lightened up with some lights, etc. So small cues on for the patient and for the caregiver. They should engage the person of dementia with a lot of activities, music, reading, jokes, reminding them of their friends, their old relatives, making them call their
Talk
friends,
to them.
talk to them, and take them for a ride to different places. And particularly, they like pilgrim places. Particularly those who are religious memories are something which are very useful for them. And similarly, music. These two things can rewire their brain to some extent, keep
Oh,
them fine. So
music and religious
religious memories,
places.
yeah, religious memories, very important for them. And old social context, three things. And if they are having some hobbies, they should do it daily, again and again. And engaging them in some physical exercise. As I mentioned, physical exercise is very good for memory. So out of those 100 billion cells, they might have lost their 40 billion cells, but still, remaining cells we can make them active, or rather we can extract more work from them. After all, its brain is nothing but chemicals. So memory is acetylcholine, coming mainly from the temporal and other areas. So making them extract more acetylcholine and giving them food which has more acetylcholine, like as I mentioned, dry fruits and veggies and olives and things.
So the diet is important even once they have been diagnosed
Yes, yes,
with dementia, and even if when it is progressing.
absolutely.
All of this will help slow down the progression, or it can help.
It can help.
Okay. Are there any medications?
There are certain medications, but the role of medication is to rather slow down the progress.
The progression.
It cannot reverse.
So it's not going to cure
It
or
cannot,
fix
it
dementia
cannot,
or Alzheimer's.
For example, there are 4 or 5 medications from the modern medicine. One is donepezil, another is memantine, another is galantamine. One of the most important is rivastigmine. There are certain herbal Chinese medicine like huperazine. There is a Singapore herb called Jinjikwa biloba. And there are certain Ayurvedic medicines also. So, like Brahmi, Shankapushpi. So, you can do mix and match, because as in certain situations there is no cure. So, people try
a lot of different things
and
also.
there are brain stimulations available nowadays. So you're surprised, like Elon Musk is doing. One day, people will go to the market and say, hey, my dog has prescribed me 5 GB, 5 gigabyte memory chip. Please give
it to me. Yeah.
We'll go out to the neurosurgeon, and neurosurgeon will put that chip, and the fellow walks out genius, more genius than Einstein. So that's the way the science is going. But no joke, there are certain stimulating technique also, which if you stimulate, like TMS and others, it improves memory function.
So that helps with Alzheimer's? Or only at a certain stage?
At certain stage, early stages. And if person remains happy, his mood and other things are fine, his performance improves. I tell you, the same Alzheimer patient today and tomorrow, when he is in a happy environment, he can perform better. So this is also a very important fact.
So let me go to one of our other topics, since we talked about it. What is happiness to a human being?
Happiness is the ultimate goal and end of human existence.
Yes.
And there is nothing beyond happiness. That is what Aristotle told. But the funny part of the story is that the definition of happiness differs from person to person. Some people find happiness in 5 senses pleasure. I call it pleasure, like good taste, looking good things, hearing good music, smell, touch. So those 5 senses and their objects is happiness to them. There is क्लब गया पिक्चर देखा इधर खाना खाया मजा किया
खुश हो गए.
But this is a transient happiness, and it is totally dependent on outer world. There is nothing coming from inside. So this is transient, and there is always craving for more and more. Okay, so this happiness is okay. We as humans would require some of this, but this is not something.
It's fleeting. Yeah.
We should long for that happiness which is permanent or long lasting, which is not dependent on the outer world, and it is at the same time giving you feeling of peace and solace. That is the real happiness. So if we move to the next level, that is joy kind of happiness, there are people who build communes and create institutes and make colleges and build empires and make billions and billions and billions of rupees and earn lots of awards and achievements and success. So success and money and all this comes in second level, where there is satisfaction, there is a little longer lasting feeling of happiness. However, these two is dependent 50% on outer world. 50% there is input from inside, but 50% is outside. Why? Because tomorrow, if you don't have money, people will not appreciate. Tomorrow, if you have done something bad and you earn bad fame, people will criticize. Which happens every day. We see that.
Yeah.
So this happiness is also dependent on the outer world. So and it will also die down one day. So probably intelligent man certainly would not ask for this kind of happiness. It's good for human being to have this aspect also. I would also love to have some kind of success and achievements and all. That's fine. It's quite human. The first is animal, 5 senses. This is quite human. It's called, the previous one was tamas, animal. This is rajas in Indian spiritual language. But the happiness that the saints enjoy, Raman Maharshi, look at Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Vivekananda, all for that purpose. Lord Rama, Krishna, Lord Mahavir, Bhagavan Buddha, all these, Jesus, Ashoja, all these elevated souls, we call them avatar. They had achieved a state where they had no business with outside. It was all internalized way. Every second, every minute, they were in communication with self and universal consciousness.
That is true happiness.
And that is true happiness. They don't bother about what people would say or think or talk. And they have only two things, truth and compassion. Compassion means love unconditional for everyone, and they care for everyone. Whether the other person cares for him or that doesn't bother. Unlike the present Baba,
it's not easy. Yeah.
Unlike present Baba and so-called gurus, these people were the real people who remain in there, and that state we all can also test if we enter into spiritual realm.
So, how to achieve true happiness?
Yes, so prayers, satsang, chanting, yoga, 3 or 4 type of yogic practice, karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, raj yoga, lay yoga, hat yoga. These are all yoga. Yoga means union, joining self to supreme consciousness, self to universal consciousness. That is yoga. And then last part is meditation. So, if I may reiterate, prayer, satsang, chanting, or devotion, yoga, and meditation. These are the places from where you can be into spiritual realm. And here, like if I did Vipassana for 10 nights, I stayed as a monk almost.
Vipassana is you don't talk, right? Arya-Moon, yeah.
So, why only talking? You don't have to see at the other person. You just look at the ground and walk. Just don't listen. Don't try to give your ear to somebody's talk. And completely you're isolated. You're living like a monk and taking a little food, few morsels of food, and all the day meditating, maybe 12 to 14 hours a day for 10 days and night. And there in deep meditation, if you do it very correctly, methodically, sincerely, and consciently, then it is highly likely that you will see that glimpse. And that, if you continue and pursue at home and do further courses, not only Vipassana, there are lots of other systems of meditation, Patanjali meditation, Anapanasati, Smriti Upasthana, Preksha Dhyan, Sahaj Dhyan, transcendental meditation, open monitoring system, concentration techniques, strata, lots of it. Tathada Dhyan, Yu Dhyan. There are 120 meditation techniques described in Vigyan Bhairav, and out of 8 methods.
What is Vigyan?
That is a very ancient spiritual text.
Okay.
There are 8 main methods. What is method? Focus on a sound, focus on breath, focus on a thought, focus on an object, focus on sensory perception, that is vipassana, focus on senses, 5 senses, guided imagery, and focus on souls, the meditation on soul. There are 8. Out of that, there are 120 different techniques, and from 120, now there are thousands of more modifications. So you must be hearing a lot of meditation techniques nowadays. So there are ramifications.
So one can do any kind
Any,
of meditation as long as they are doing it
Yeah.
and they are consistent with it.
Yeah, that's a very good question. For a beginner, he may find difficult which technique would suit to him. Like, first of all, one has to learn to sit quietly for 30 minutes at least a day without any interruption, close eyes, and complete silence. That is the first step to do, to my mind. After doing some prayer and little breath techniques, you do this. Then, after acquiring certain mastery, one starts with sound meditation because it's the easiest meditation.
What is sound
Om,
meditation?
Kar, or
Okay.
some mantra, or listen to mantra. Either you create Om or listen to Om or some mantra or
And you're
whatever.
still sitting in silence and you're listening to a mantra.
Yeah. But then it is not just when I'm saying mantra, Om Namo Narayana, although Shri Krishna Sharanam Mam, or for that purpose, any religious mantra. Then it is not just mantra saying. Sound has its own powerful effect. You agree? Because after all, it's one of the most primitive
Yes.
type of energy.
Yeah.
The Big Bang, the first thing came up was Om, which is pervasive all across the universe. But when that particular sound, if I say, oh, Shri Krishna Sharanam Mama, my whole focus will be when I say, I should be completely in tune with my existence is just merging with Sri Krishna's existence, and then with my full existence, I am going down to Sri Krishna, then Namaha, I am doing Namaskar, and then I have no other thought. So just reciting mantra has its own power. But when I do it with the meaning, the intonation, Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama, so there is some specific vibration. So it's called Naga Brahma. So the meaning of the mantra we have to follow, the deity I have to follow, and the intonations. If I do any of these three and completely merge with the mantra, then it gives the exact effect, and that is sound meditation. Like that, you can focus on an object, focus on a breath, focus on so many things. So these are very deep science on meditation. I mean, we can go and go on and on, but I think what mankind has forgotten, particularly the Indian people, because this is one of the greatest gifts that Indian spirituality has given to the world is meditation.
We have so much.
Meditation. Yoga has 8 steps. Out of this, 7th step is meditation. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Dharana, Dhyan. Yama, Niyama, Asana, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, and last is Samadhi, communion. So, 7th step is meditation. So, we just talk yoga means that just physical exercise. No, that's not. Yoga means this, and that connects you. Yoga huge. It connects to the universal consciousness. That is what we have to do. And there are specific changes in the brain. It's not a hallucination. It's a neurobiological event.
The yoga and the meditation.
Yes, and particularly meditation. We have studied these in SPECT machine, fMRI, PET, magnetoencephalogram, and a lot of things. In SPECT, we found increased blood circulation in the prefrontal area.
Wow.
And decreased circulation in the OA, posterior superior parietal lobe.
Is there a length of medication that is linked to the changes in the brain?
To some
Like 10 minutes, 15
30
minutes?
to 40 minutes is
30 to 40 minutes,
yeah.
okay. Yes.
Yeah, 30 to 40
30 to 40 minutes, okay.
Most of the studies have recommended that. And the maximum studies are done on Vipassana, Theravada system, the Sahaj system, Transcendental system, and some similar system. But I believe most of the meditation system have ultimately same brain findings, and it's very interesting and very deep subject. We can do sometime later again. But the point which I was making is there are three major changes that occur during meditation. First and foremost is that this is the prefrontal region. Why human race is superior to all other animals? We humans feel that we are superior because we have this prefrontal lobe which is deficient, not as large as we have even in our ancestors like apes and monkeys. This prefrontal lobe is responsible for higher cognition, intelligence, judgment, communication skills, bhasha, or also for emotion, behavior, for judgment, for things like laughing, as for example, happiness. All these things are, and there are many other things, higher memory, cognition, intelligence. Now, this area gets increased blood circulation to the tune of 30 to 40%. And you try to understand if somebody does meditation daily for 30-40 minutes for years, what will happen to the cognition? Why these meditators are highly, profoundly intelligent and they pick up things and grasp very fast and they remember. Why their pragya, the real word is pragya. Why they are pragyavan? Because of this effect of meditation. Interestingly, the other part is the left parietal area. Here the blood circulation shuns off. There is a sudden decrease during the meditation. Now, what is the effect of this thing? This area is responsible for our orientation to time, place. Like right now, I'm talking to Mamta, and this is the time, and we have to now talk about certain more minutes, and then things like that. So my orientation, my manifestation of my ego, my attitude, my emotions, my perversions, my desires, and my attachment and aversions, everything is ultimately through this because I am manifested. And because there is sudden decreased blood circulation in this area, the desire and emotion no longer dominate consciousness. So now the real question comes, what is the connotation of this? The connotation is this: why we are unhappy? Because of our desires, because of our emotions, our ego, our attitude.
We can do a whole different podcast on this.
So the equation.
It's very important.
This is where the problem is. We are not unhappy because somebody did this to me and why this funny thing happened to me. No, because my desire, my expectation, my comparisons, my ego, my attitude, everything, somewhere I'm hurt internally, and that's where I blame outside world. So this meditator is completely controlling. Yes, ma'am. So meditator is able to control this completely. इसको क्या कहते हैं? This is pragya and this is मन का अमन होना. The faculty of mind does all this: desires, emotion, ego, attitude. What is it? It's not brain, it's the mind, so-called mind faculty. Thoughts, desires, emotion, ego, attitude, aversions, and attachment all are from the mind faculty. And If you remove the faculty of mind, you become omana from man. So taking charge of your mind, and that is what meditator does, and therefore he is the happiest person. And third connotation of meditation is there is increased blood circulation in the limbic system. The hypothalamus gets preferential flow, and additionally, with all this blood flow, there are changes in chemicals. There is a dopamine, serotonin circuit. The dopamine is the chemical of desire, lust, etc. that goes down, and endorphin, enkephalin, the chemicals for compassion, bliss, they are all increased. So the third level of happiness I mentioned was bliss, and that increases because the sympathetic nervous system is the stress system, fight or flight. But in meditation, it shuts off, and instead parasympathetic operates. So the person has low pulse, low blood pressure, talks slowly, walks slowly.
Makes sense. So you are not in that fight and flight
so
response.
Yogic mode.
Yeah.
That was the stress mode. This is yogic mode. So why yogis are so calm, serene, and compassionate? Because of hypothalamic output of parasympathetic system, and that is because of prolonged meditation. Ma'am, they are not doing meditation only 30 minutes. They are always meditating. That is called mindfulness. While they are eating, they are meditating. While they are talking, they are meditating. While they are sitting, they are meditating. Whatever they are doing, they are in communion to the universal consciousness, so-called supreme consciousness. And that is what makes them such blissful people. And they have at their command everything. Many of them, they have not learned anything.
Yeah.
These Ramana Maharshi go to school, but still he could recite all Vedas and Upanishads. Why?
Yeah.
He could download from universal consciousness. As we have iCloud, they have uCloud, universal cloud. So
that's awesome.
That they just get it from above. They don't have to go to school. And they are so sharp because of this pragya, and because this is gone and this parasympathetic is up. So they can see through and through. And that is where they get all these powerful assets. We call it yogic labdhi.
Yeah.
Siddhi, Ashtama Siddhi, because they can heal. Just they look at you and they can heal you. They can read your mind. And I have met some yogis who can actually do that.
Oh, really?
So this is not a hallucination. This is not a joke. This is
real.
It's real. I have myself experienced with some yogis. One of them I met Natha Bappa at Gondal. I had few questions on spiritual domain because I was doing fasting studies and I had fundamental questions. So when I went there, he sat in front of me and he talked about me, who am I, where I am coming from, without any background, and what exactly my personal thing which only I knew. And then he said, Dr. Shah, you have these 5 questions, and these are his answers. These are his answers.
Oh, so you didn't even have to ask him?
I did not have to ask, and I did not share this to anyone before him. So this is one example, but I'm telling the people because of this. So yogic system is something which is...
It's actually true.
Yeah, I experienced that. And through science, I've done the experiment. I've met the highest scientists also, and we all believe that yes, the higher plane merges. Science and spirituality is one, they are not separate. But because we are poor people, we don't understand much, so we try to say, oh, this is different, this is different. No. ज्ञान और प्रज्ञा एक ही है, उसका हम डिवीजन करते हैं कि ये भाग साइंस है, नहीं कैसा नहीं. It is indivisible. That is the equation.
That's interesting. So this book that you're a co-author of, The Meditation Must, is this what you have written in there? connecting the medical
Yeah,
aspect
yeah,
to
yes.
spirituality.
Yes, absolutely. That whole record of all these experiments and how
Are in
the
there.
brain changes, not only this SPECT and fMRI findings, there are also chemical changes and the synapses and many other things. And what are the different types of meditation? So some basics about meditation also I have written. And I've also written one another book, but that is in Gujarati, that is Sukhopanishad.
Okay.
And that I'm now in a process of translating into English and Hindi and other languages. There also I mentioned how one can achieve happiness through several different stories, right from physical fitness to maintaining relationships and then learning some hobbies and also practicing good etiquette, and then moving on to how achievements in life, success and joy, which I was talking about. And while success is what? Is taking from the system. How smartly you take from the system, and then you say, I got this award and this much money and this belongings. But real happiness is in the spiritual plane, where what you are giving to the world, that creates the
real happiness.
That is the real happiness. So blissful people, they don't take from the system, they give to the system. They have never desired to take from system. They are there to give. And one Rishi-like person from higher in Himalaya, he came once to show me for physical checkup. That was for the sake of it. I think he came to enlighten me. And he gave me three important principles. He said, Dr. Shah, in the physical world or macro world, when you have to buy something, you have to give something in kind of exchange. Like if I have to buy, I have to give money or I have to give gold or something, and then I buy a fridge or car or something, right? So there is exchange system. The spiritual world where happiness, peace, respect, love, kindness, these highest jewels, they dwell. There is no exchange. Whatever you want, you have to deposit. If I want happiness, I have to give happiness only. If I give sadness or cruelty to somebody, I'm not going to get happiness.
Yeah, and I think that is the problem these days is we are always wanting, right? It's expectations.
Yeah.
More than giving it out.
Yeah. And he said there are two models also. One is that whatever you want, you have to deposit first.
Yeah.
Then he said, okay, it is not necessary that if I given happiness or kindness to you, I will get from you.
Yeah.
I'll get from this.
Yes.
So it's a circle of life.
Yeah.
So why we get wrong? अरे मैंने इसके लिए इतना किया
और उसने नहीं किया मुझे वापस.
And then we have lot of this is ये जो वैर और जो एवर्जन राग द्वेष चलता रहता है ना, उसके पीछे we have wrong notion. We are being wired wrong. We are being taught wrong. पर सर्कल ऑफ लाइफ में देखो, आपने नहीं किया तो उसने तो मेरा कितना किया. Third law is that if I give you 1% peace, it's not necessary that I'll get 1%. I'll get 100% from you. 1 unit of happiness given to you, I may get 1,000 units of happiness from you. So not only circle of life, but it comes in multiplication.
Wow.
So these are the fundamental rules of spirituality. These are called quantum laws, I call them. Quantum laws of spirituality. That nobody has taught us. And therefore, हम लोग उलझ जाते हैं लाइफ के चक्कर में, ये क्या हो गया मेरे साथ. And then you have to learn the philosophy of karma siddhanta, law of destiny, law of connectedness, and a lot of things. So that all creates happiness. So after that, you have to do religious practices, and particularly Satya, Ahimsa, Aste, Brahmacharya, Parigraha. Then enter into the yogic realm where Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Raj Yoga, Hatha Yoga, Laya Yoga. And then the spiritual practices which I was mentioning, uh, particularly devotion or prayer and satsang, reading good books, swadhyay, and of course meditation.
Do you have any brain routines, Dr. Sudhir? What do you do
Yeah, I
to?
mean, having learned all these things, I try to follow. First of all, let me tell you, we have done some courses of meditation. Try to do, me and my wife, we try to do daily meditation.
That's nice. Yeah.
And I do prayers. We all family members do prayer at between 10 to 10:30 p.m. Wherever we are, all across the globe, we connect and
Do prayers.
and pray together. I always do. I go to the temple and also have a temple in my house. So I offer my part and puja every day for 20 minutes. Then do some exercise also in the morning. I try to follow the food habits that, and I try to finish my food before 7 p.m. Generally, we try to avoid night foods. We don't fall prey to any bad habits and any kind of alcohol. I never touched it. Being a doctor, you'll be surprised. There'll be very few guys who meet you don't even touch.
Yeah.
There are few friends also who are in my philosophy, but this is what we do, and we try to donate. We we believe that altruism is most important. So appreciate people, forgive people for their misgivings and misdoings. We try to say gratitude to everyone who has helped us, including God and our
Yeah.
parents and friends, and of course, accept whatever comes in the way despite all
Very
efforts.
important. Yeah.
So that keeps us happy. And we read philosophical books. Even now, daily, almost in a week, I read 4 to 5 hours philosophical books. That is my routine.
Can you talk a little bit about your famous research, prolonged fasting?
Prolonged fasting was a accidental thing once again in my life, and I was a neurologist and never knew about nutrition so much as I had to do that. But one of my friends who came to me one day and requested me to join a project on prolonged fasting of Sridhar and Manik. I declined and said, no, Baba, this is not possible. Firstly, I don't know what is the nutritional aspect of that. And secondly, the man claims fasting at a stage of 411 days, which I think is a 411 days prolonged fasting. I said this is a bakwas and that is not possible.
So this, so you have the research you did is for 411 days.
That was the first project in 2000, which we finished on 31st March 2001. I mean, 11 February 2001, and I published my hypothesis on March 2001. So that was Hira Ratan Manik, and we made a team of 24 doctors, and we studied him in a condition, in a controlled environment. However, after that research paper, people read from internet and they tried to contact me from wherever they were in the world. And out of that, Prahlad Jani Mataji, the most famous candidate from my research, came to me. Again, the same story. I said this is not possible because he was saying that he has not eaten or taken any drop of liquid for years together, and that he did not pass urine and stool. That is what.
Really?
Yeah. So That was the most funny thing I ever heard in my life. Nevertheless, we kept him in the hospital for 10 days and night in Sterling Hospital with every second to second videography. There were a lot of kind of checks. There was a man outside the door. The door was sealed from outside. The person was kept in a closed room with cameras, which we used to monitor from floor above. There were people on the floor who were monitoring. There were doctors who used to visit and check anytime. So from all this, we realized that he could do this for 10 days and nights without any flaw. He did not eat anything, he did not drink anything, he did not pass urine, he did not pass stool. And
Is it feasible?
that was not feasible to science, but this fellow did it. So that was the greatest challenge in the world. Therefore, people from all across the globe came to Ahmedabad. Many of them they studied our records. In that process, I had to meet His Excellency, our President APJ Abdul Kalam Sahab. I presented the data to him. He was also surprised, and we then chalked out that if this is true, we have to repeat the project and check with the DPAS scientists. So DPAS came into picture. We repeated this in 2010. This time for 15 days. Again, he proved right. He did not eat, drink, except for gargling. He never used water. Okay, and while bathing twice in those 15 days, he took bath. But we used to measure the water before and after bathing. So there was a very controlled environment. Except for this gargle and bathing, he was not exposed to water even.
Wow.
He didn't pass urine, stool, did not eat, and my God. So that was the most phenomenal thing. And the application was it is challenging the science of calorie, and he was alive till age of 93, very agile. His brain was showing no sign of degeneration. Heart was completely normal. Arteries were open. The gut, every system was normal. Powerful man with full confidence. If you look into his eyes, and at the top of it, he never fell ill.
Was he meditating? I'm just curious. Was he meditating?
He was meditating, he was doing chanting, he was doing lot of yogic processes and so many things. So ultimately, Dipas had to agree that, but we decided to use this for the astronauts for long-term space.
Yeah. So what was the conclusion of this study?
Yeah, so there are certain ways where we can cut down calories. We don't want to come human race on 0 calories like him, nor we want to make them not to pass urine and so that was not our purpose. Our purpose was if let's say the space traveler comes down to 800 calories in place of 2400 or 3000 calories, the weight of the rocket will be reduced to 1/3 or 1/2. So, according to the principle of dynamics, gati ke niyam nahi hote. If the space travel is, say, let's say to moon is 90 days, we can reach moon in 45 days because the weight of the rocket will be reduced to half. So that was the thesis that me and Professor Kalam were working on, and Dipas was very kind to help us. There are so many other applications of this. Like there are people in the world who don't get enough food. Even in India and across, if we bring down, by this method of yoga or sun gazing, mechanical or chemical. There are a lot of methods: mechanical, chemical, yoga, sun gazing, and so many things. Hatha yoga practice, kriya yoga, etc. That can really biotransform our body. And then there are 3 films made out of this work. where I am giving my bites, and I'm one of the. And there are Nobel laureates in their fields who have tried to explain this on these biophotons, genetics, quantum mechanisms, Gaussian curve, mind phenomena, and all. So you should see that film. The name of the film is In the Beginning There Was Light by Peter Strobinger from
In
Austria.
the beginning, there was light. Okay.
There are two more films. One is from Switzerland and one from USA.
Okay.
But this is one. And then it came all across the globe on various media, printed and electronic, and including Time Life magazine.
Yeah, yeah.
So this has created like yoga, meditation. Ideal word is yoga, not yoga, but yoga, meditation, fasting, and spiritual practices have lot to offer to human body and brain. And if we really exploit these wonderful techniques given by ancient Indian sages and rishis, I think we can bring welfare to the humanity.
Yeah, and also a lot of conditions, heart disease, stroke,
Many diseases would be
dementia,
reduced.
whatever.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, they can be reduced, if not cured. Because cure is a big word. I don't use that
Right.
very lightly, but yes, you can. It's possible. So we have to go back to some of the ancient things. And so my point is, instead of wasting so much time on, again, sorry, but on WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram,
Social
three
media.
instead
Yeah.
of that, if somebody spends 1 hour for physical health, 1 hour for mental
No, and I
health,
think meditation.
meditation, mental health, that's, and meeting friends.
Because a
and
lot of times people say that, oh, we are so busy, we don't have time for meditation,
No,
and there is so much
they
research that has been done.
They have to do meditation.
Yeah.
I call it 3HFS. 3H is hygiene, 1 hour. So out of 24, you go 7 hours for sleep,
Mhm.
8 hours for your work.
Mhm.
Out of 9 hours,
Mhm.
3 HFS. H is hygiene,
Mhm.
your hobbies. Okay, you can use 1 hour.
Whatever that brings you
Yeah.
peace and happiness. Yeah.
F is family, for friends, and for faith, whichever faith you follow. And S is for smile, self, that is spirituality, and service to nation, to mankind, etc. So health, hygiene, and hobbies, friends, families, and faith, self, service, and social work and all. I think the world will change. Our happiness improves, our health improves, we can live long, we can help world, it will be a better place to live. So I think we have done a long essay on happiness and meditation.
And we have connected everything to science, which is, I think,
And-
very important for people to understand.
Yes, and the most important, madam, the message is that it's not my belief, it is all proved by neuroscience. Go to internet, find out Andrew Newberg, 2002 seminal articles, 2003, 4, 5 Lazar article. You'll find what meditation does to brain.
Yeah.
Yoga, you go to transcendental meditation, Sahaj meditation, Vipassana, and type and see. Many of them are peer-reviewed journals. Fasting, you can study my article, Prolonged Fasting, How It Is Possible. It was published in 2001. See, so all these things are our treasures. How mantra affects, how chanting affects, how prayer affects brains, all these things neuroscience has. Kirtan Kriya. And I can connect all the dots and say that if we really invest our time in 3HFS, I think our lives will change. And lastly, those who would say that during working day it is difficult to spend like this, so then make it up on Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
You can do it.
No, this means a lot coming from a neurologist
I strongly believe.
of your repute. Yeah.
I do music daily. I go and sing. So you ask for brain routine. So my hobby is reading and music and writing books. So I do that.
Yeah. 3 very strong ones.
So everyone will find its own way of expression. Love people. Life is too short, man. There is hardly any time to love people enough. So how can we criticize and hate people and
Hold
talk
grudges
bad
and all
things?
that, yeah.
We should so this is how, and appreciate and forgive and gratitude. This is how we should live.
This was very, very helpful. Thank you so much for your time again.
Thank you.
I do want to touch base quickly just upon, because today, 17th, is National Epilepsy Day.
Yeah.
So just if we could explain what epilepsy is quickly, and then we'll end this episode, and then we'll meet again.
Epilepsy. Epi, today upon. Epilepsy. So there's a kind of seizing.
Is it seizures?
Yeah. Seizure.
Same thing as epilepsy?
Yes.
Okay.
Repeated seizures is called
It's
epilepsy.
called epilepsy. Okay.
Only one seizure does not mean
Okay.
epilepsy.
Okay.
But epilepsy is much more than repeated seizures. The social, psychological, emotional, and a lot of other aspects are under this one rubric. So today is National Epilepsy Day. World Epilepsy Day comes in the February, and there is also called Purple Day in 26 March. So there are 3 different things in epilepsy. So there are different types of epilepsy: grandma epilepsy, Padmashri epilepsy, there is absence epilepsy, focal seizure with impaired consciousness, focal seizure with preserved consciousness, and myoclonic just like this. So what I want to convey to people is don't be afraid of epilepsy. 70% of epilepsies are totally treatable. 50% get cured in 3 to 4 years treatment.
Nice.
Some have chance of relapse. There you have to retreat them. 5-7 years treatment maximum for them. But however, some of them are difficult to treat, 15 to 20%. There we use surgery or some other neurostimulation techniques. Actually, so science has advanced a lot. Even at my center in VS Hospital, now SVP Hospital, we have started epilepsy surgery. उसे घबराने का नहीं है, पर ये जो है ना जूते सुझाव एपिलेप्सी है वो सब गलत मान्यता है. जो भी epilepsy is always, once epilepsy is always epilepsy, that is also wrong. Epilepsy is psychological, is no, it's a neurological syndrome. Hysteria is a mansic root, but this is a neurological syndrome. Then epilepsy is always hereditary. No, hardly 4 to 10% of epilepsy go into heredity.
That is good. So epilepsy hereditary नहीं है.
दूसरा कि epilepsy, women cannot bear children. No, I have hundreds of girls who are married, they have children, they're all fine, alive, and they have normal lives, so they can lead normal life. And you know what? Alfred Nobel, Napoleon Bonaparte, Julius Caesar, John T. Ron, बड़े कितने लोगों को epilepsy है, फिर भी they live normal life, more than normal life. So I think epilepsy is not a bar to achievements, and you should not treat these people with discrimination. They are normal people. Give them job, give them love, kindness, help them.
That is good to know, yeah.
So our attempt is, I'm a president of Ahmedabad branch in the Epilepsy Association, and we try to create awareness. For the last 25 years we have been doing so. We have written books on Gujarati, Hindi, English, on the whole brain, that is brain and neurological disorders. One is written on epilepsy, stroke, a lot of books we write just to create awareness in patients' language. Patients' language. So I think epileptic people should not be afraid, and it is our duty as a society to help and
to make them feel accepted and accept them normally.
Yes, that is what it is.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Sudhir Shah. It was really nice talking to you, and we'll meet again.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
I hope my viewers will be happy. Thank you very much.
Yes.